The Calgary Flames are on a 3-game winning streak, including a win over the defending Stanley Cup champions. But is it going to be enough to get them back into the playoff picture? Jess Belmosto of Locked On Flames joins us to discuss that and all things Calgary Flames next on the Locked On NHL podcast.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome, everybody, to the Monday edition of the Locked On NHL podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On NHL your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you can get new episodes as soon as they drop. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. It is my pleasure to welcome back to the show the host of Locked On Flames, Jess Belmosto. And we have good timing here, Jess. 3 in a row for the Calgary Flames, a team that's been struggling for consistency all season. What's been clicking over these last 3 games?
The dad trip. They're playing really well in front of their dads and mentors and whoever they brought along on the trip. But I really do think it is the confidence that they've just been able to build up from. I think truly the turning point was Jonathan Huberdeau getting a point finally at the end of December. And it just felt like that was just kind of like when the floodgates opened. They were finally clicking on all sides.
And you know, how has Huberdeau done since finally getting off the schneid with that point?
He's done really well. I believe he's averaging about a point per game, and that's not something we've seen from Jonathan Huberdeau in his tenure in Calgary thus far. So it's refreshing. It makes a lot of the games a little bit easier to watch.
I'm sure. Talk to me about Blake Coleman leading the team in goals, leading the team in points. What has he been doing so well that has him in this position?
I truly think it is the combination of his line mates. Mangiapane, Backlund, and Coleman that's one of the strongest lines in hockey. They play a really good two-way game, and I don't know what it is. This is Blake Coleman's, I believe, 3rd year in Calgary, and this is the best hockey he's played since he was in Tampa. And I was listening to a post-game interview, and he just said it's the confidence. He has that kind of he believes in himself, and so does everyone in the room, and it's great to see.
Jacob Markstrom playing pretty well, 912 save percentage, 2.59 goals against, but backup goaltending has been an issue. Talk to me about where they are with their backup goalies and what, if anything, they plan to do to try to fix that issue.
Yeah, so Dan Vladar is just not working in Calgary. It's he's just really struggling pretty much anytime he starts. And that's unfortunate because that means you are riding Jacob Markstrom a lot more than you would like to. But because he's so bad, you can't really trade him. And he is one of the 3 or 4 remaining pending UFAs. And realistically, you would like to call up Dustin Wolf. So he does get a chance to settle into the NHL and have 10 to 15 starts for the rest of the season.
Do you think they can include him in some kind of a deal, like as a throw-in at the trade deadline, or?
No, I feel like a team would have to be pretty, I hate saying this, but pretty desperate. I understand that there's a lot of goaltending injuries going on right now, but what Kevin Weeks tweeted on Friday about Jacob Markstrom, like keep an eye on him, was kind of confirmed last night on Hockey Night in Canada by Elliot Friedman that the Flames are open to shopping him, but the offer has to be something pretty significant in order to make it work, especially because Markstrom does have that no movement clause.
Do you think he would waive it for the right situation?
I would say so. I think that he really wants to win, and I don't know if that window is, that's a possibility in Calgary for the remaining of his contract. So, a team like Carolina, Toronto, and they'll probably have to get a third team in there for to take on some cap, but we'll see.
The power play has been struggling pretty much all year. I even see your face as I mentioned those two words, power play. What's wrong with the power play, and what are they trying to do to make it better?
Mark Savard was hired over the summer, and everyone was so excited because he was going to be taking over the power play, and he is one of the brilliant minds in hockey, and everyone was so excited because it was a change. It was something new, and someone that was familiar with the Flames organization. The issue, I think, has been that they're not moving. They're staying still, and the opponent is able to read what they're going to do, and no one wants to shoot. I think it's definitely gotten better in the last week or so, but it's still not where you want it to be, especially with, like, on paper, you have a decent first power play unit. So I don't know why it's not working other than they're not moving.
What does this team need to do to keep this winning streak going, or even just to play more consistent hockey and stay in the playoff race going forward?
I would say that they need to build off of this momentum. That has been one of the biggest issues this season and last season as well. They get going and then they just hit the brakes. They slam on the brakes and they'll go one or two games where they'll lose and then win a couple. But they had that 6-game skid at the start of the season. They can't afford to do that anymore. And I really think that it's a matter of shooting the puck. I know how cliche that sounds, but this team sometimes is allergic to shooting. They are very much a pass-first team, and thank goodness for Igor Sharangovich, who has really been able to kind of snap them out of it.
Trade deadline now less than 2 months away. You guys are sort of hanging on the fringes of the playoff race. Do you think they are sellers, buyers, or it depends on what happens in the next 6 weeks?
I think it depends. This whole season has been a waiting game, and Craig Conroy, the general manager, did an interview with The Athletic last week, and it really is a wait and see game because he wants to make sure that his guys are taken care of, but also what he's getting in return, they're comfortable, and he's playing it very safe and friendly. And I don't think that that's necessarily the best approach, but you do have to take care of your players. And I think that one move we will see for certain is Elias Lindholm. He will be traded between now and then.
If they were to add, what would they be looking to add?
Someone that can shoot. I think that's kind of really where they're at, and especially it's going to come down to Noah Hannafin's potential extension too. We've kind of been primed that that's going to happen anytime now, and so maybe they're going to need something on the back end as well as a forward, but I do think that they could get away with some internal moves in terms of forwards, but defense, they're going to need some help.
All right, Jess, why don't you tell our viewers and our listeners where they could find the podcast and where they could find you on social media?
Yes, so you can find Locked On Flames wherever you listen to Locked On NHL on your favorite podcast platforms as well as YouTube. And you can follow me on X at Jess Belmosto.
All right, Jess, thank you so much. Always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you so much.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets win or lose. And the app is so easy to use. There are so many different ways to bet, like live same-game parlays. You could find bets in their new Explore tab, or you can head over to the Parlay Hub to make a parlay. That's the best place to find the most popular parlays, and there's a whole lot more. And look, you've got a lot more. You have pro and college basketball. Of course, you've got hockey. Check out the odds for your favorite team on FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.